What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Who You Got with
Melo.
and Rado. It's a sports podcast where we talk your favorite sports debates, sports highlights, and sports matchups. If you guys are watching with us right now, please make sure you go ahead and click that like button below. Make sure you guys follow us on our YouTube page and as well as our Facebook page. Every single one of you guys are following us. We love you guys, so please make sure you guys follow us along with every single episode we're doing. We got a lot of stuff in the docket for you guys. If you guys are following us there, also, if you guys want to make sure and check out our Patreon page, there's some really cool things for you guys there. Some merch that we have on there, and as well as some blogs that we're going to be posting on there every week. And we have some secret episodes that we might be posting in the summer as well. So you can get some of those there. Plus, you can have some general support there, and then also give your questions there, where we can possibly put a topic in the podcast for you guys. If you guys want to also follow us on our main, Instagram pages, I'm at the Iconic Dude, and Mello is,
Melo the Notorious.
yeah, and that's pretty much it as far as that goes. But we got a really cool episode for you guys this week, and I want Mello to tell you guys a little bit about what we're going to be talking about.
Man, you already know why we're here. It is the end of the year, and while we are right before NFL playoffs, right in the middle of NBA season, and obviously baseball is over.
Yep.
We are in the perfect time for college football playoffs. So we are pretty much less than a week away from the college football semifinals, and that is the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl
Beach
being
Bowl.
played out by four teams who will decide the next week national champion for this year's college football, basically best team. So today we are here to talk about the two semifinal games, and that is going to be the Fiesta Bowl, which is number three ranked TCU versus number two ranked Michigan, and then the Peach Bowl, which is number four ranked Ohio State versus number one ranked Georgia. And both of these games are about to be hella competitive.
Oh
We
yeah.
expect to see good offenses and good defense. I don't want to say a lot of offense because I don't expect it to be shootouts. It can turn into shootouts, but all four of these teams are putting up quality defenses that know how to pretty much slow their opponent down and stop them in their tracks. So I definitely think we're going to get some good games. Uh, why don't we just get right into it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and get into it. I mean, Michigan and TCU is the first one that I wanted to talk about, and like you
Fiesta
said, it's been an
Bowl.
exciting, and college football season. And this is one of the first years that Alabama's not in the college football playoffs. I
I
think it is the
know.
first season that they are not in the college football playoff, actually. So, it's exciting as far as that goes because you're getting some new blood going in there, and it's exciting because TCU is in there, and TCU has had quite a run this season.
Hmm.
For them just to get into the college football playoff, a lot of people didn't think that they were going to get in there. Obviously, they're not one of the, necessarily big conferences that people would think. If you're just looking at them, they're in the Big 12, but they're not in the SEC. They're not where everybody's is looking at. They, however, they did start out the season real hot, and they had one of the best offenses in the NCAA, and that starts out with their quarterback. Duggan's been balling out. Max Duggan
Hmm.
is he was a Heisman candidate. Um, Not only has he got his team to a 12-1 record so far, but they started out the season uh, 12-0, and they literally just lost the last game of the season in the Big 12 championship game, and it was a very close game. It went to overtime, and Max
Hmm.
Duggan could have won the game. He really could have. They almost had a historic season with him under helm. Like his offensive play was really really good. They were 15th in the all of NCAA football as far as the offense goes, passing and rushing. Their defense wasn't great, but as far as their offense goes, they were one of the best in the whole league. And they're playing a team in Michigan who was one of the best defensive teams in
Hmm.
the in the league right now in the college football playoff. But not only that, definitely in the top 25 ranks, and possibly, I mean, they're top five defense in college football right now. I think that they could be considered top one. Like their rushing is number one right now, so they could be considered a number one defense in some senses. And this is going to be like juggernaut versus juggernaut, offensive juggernaut, and the Heisman Trophy candidate finalist versus, I mean, you got Jim Harbaugh over there in his first college football playoff, trying to get the first championship, national championship, since he's gotten to Michigan. So this is huge for him as well.
Hmm.
Him just getting his team in there. This is the first time. Obviously, they've been undefeated. They've always had big problems playing against their rival Ohio State in the Big Ten game, and uh, they've always, it's always came down to that in the championship game. And when they've lost that championship game, Ohio State usually gets in to the playoffs, and Michigan is always the last one out of it, usually a fifth or sixth ranked in the last 5 years at least since Harbaugh's been there. But this is finally the year, and it really comes down to their defense and their running game. They have one of the best running backs in college football right now. I think Michigan, they may have had the easier schedule this year, but like their defense shows that they can play in big moments and they can close out games. They've been able to close out 4 games when they were within 7 points in the last 6 minutes of the game. And that was their defense pretty much closing it out. And after that, Druggan just running out the clock. But they're definitely a team that can close out games if it gets close. So if this game gets close, I could definitely see Michigan taking over, and I think it is going to be close. I think that their defense is going to slow down this TCU offense. I think Jim Harbaugh, he's definitely impressed with Druggan. He said that he's very impressed. This is his quote. He's impressed of Druggan. He said he has an unbelievable arm and he's a stud, but I do think that he knows that his defense could slow him down. Um, TCU is the sixth best scoring offense, but Michigan is the third best scoring defense. So this is literally a game of juggernauts, offense versus defense. I can't wait to see it. See, I'm on the side of the defense right now because I do think that Druggan is one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. I think that the Michigan defense is one of the best we've seen in the last 5 years, possibly like even longer. Like this is a really great defense, and it can show out in big moments. So I actually got this game as a lower scoring game, if you can call it that, in a college football playoff, a 28-24, Michigan winning this one. What about you though? Who
Mm.
you got for this one?
So pretty much you nailed a lot of things on the head. Max Duggan, Cinderella story, first year quarterback with a first year coach. Went on to become one of the most efficient passers this year, and like you said, uh, w- posted a 40-point scoring average offense that was pretty much efficient. Uh, high high explosive plays, just a lot of ball movement, moving down the field. Like they were just doing magical things on offense.
They were.
Just like you said on the other end, defense. Michigan,
Hmm.
like you said, have been right now they are pretty much third best red zone touchdown um, defense in the country, allowing pretty much 6 touchdowns on
In the
on
red
a
zone.
yeah in the red zone.
In the red
Uh,
zone. Yeah, it's nuts. Six
it's like
touchdowns in
they're
the red all season.
all season. That's like at 38%. Granted, I mean they got score down, but like once you get into that 20, you're not having a good time scoring. Um,
That's not
pretty
bad. So six out of like what, around 18 tries, 19 tries. That's not too bad.
no
So
no
they
that's
stopped them, right?
yeah
If it's
pretty
38%,
much
that's not too
no
bad.
yeah exactly. So probably uh just under 20. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so definitely that's what I say. It doesn't seem like that seems like like ridiculous. Only 6, but obviously it's hard to get in that 20-yard. Because most plays get broken further than that.
It's college
So
football. Those are
exactly,
always big plays there.
exactly. So pretty much they're gonna look to their defense to hold TCU down. TCU is gonna try to. They're gonna have to deal with their own issues with the Wolverines running back. Right now, Heisman candidate Blake Corum is injured. But Donovan Edwards is running in his place, and my man has pretty much, I think, put up close to 300 yards in the last like 2 games alone. So he's doing what he's supposed to do. Um, TCU and Michigan both are notorious for very slow starts and coming back in the second half and taking over. Both of them are averaging like 18 points in the first half, while both of them are averaging over 21 in the second half, most of that coming in the fourth quarter. So pretty much you got two offenses that can put up 40 points, one that likes to run it, one that likes to throw it. Two defenses that likes to slow their opponents down. Cause TCU really, they got a 3-3-5 that isn't you like college. I love it because they just so much more experimenting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like there's
Yeah.
so many different defensive
A lot
formations
more
that they still
defensive
use.
positions too. Like you got
Exactly.
like left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker. Like you got
They'll
like
have
a
like multiple outside linebackers.
you got a
Uh,
rush linebacker, which is something different. Like, but Devin Bush was playing that in Michigan a few years ago. Now he's in the NFL. But Devin Bush was like literally playing that position, that rush linebacker position, which is kind of like if you think about Micah Parsons, he's kind of doing that in the
Yeah,
NFL.
no, and that's basically what it is. Like they import the creativity in their scheme. So well, obviously it's the same positions. Like they got specific slot corners, specific outside linebackers that are lining up, like at different positions, but still, playing the line like at the 3-3 that they play at TCU. You'll see them have four people lined up. It'll look like they'll give you a different look. They'll give you a look of a 4-3 when it's really a 3-3-5. But that's just based on the personnel. So they use a 3-3 to try to hold you down, to really get you small yardage. And pretty much on the other end, they're pretty much getting. I think they're ranked 10th in yards per play on offense. So they're gonna definitely score a lot. I think that it isn't gonna be a shootout, but I do think both offenses will have a chance to explode. I do think, like you said, the defense 100% is going to be the deciding factor. And while I think Duggan's going to, get a chance to show his skills outside the pocket, he's not going to have a choice but to not to because he's going to be running for his life. He will make some plays using that. Like you said, Michigan is going to pull away late in that game, and I do believe that, which is why I actually got a little bit higher scoring, just for the simple fact that both teams like to explode, and the way that Michigan is so stingy in closed
Yeah.
space, I know that TCU is going to take a lot more chances,
Mhm.
and they're gonna have to. So I think that it is gonna be a TCU loss. Michigan should come away with this. That defense is literally not only they like you say you think it's the best in the nation. I think I have to agree. Georgia's defense is not as stacked as it used to be. They are the best in the red zone, no question about it, and they are the best in the second half, no question about it. So not only do their offense turn up the pressure, the defense does as well. And those two things coming down, Max Duggan and TCU is gonna really just fold into a bad, a bad game. Not a bad game all around, but a bad
Mhm.
result basically. So I definitely got Michigan winning. But I got a 32. I think it was 23.
Okay. 32-23.
I got to
That's
think how I did that math. There was a couple field goals in there. But yeah, I think it's gonna be
take
like
32 32
like a
23.
yeah.
That's a good score. I mean, I definitely
Yep.
think. I mean, so yeah, you got Michigan scoring pretty much like one more touchdown than me. And I definitely think that could happen. I think that like if McCarthy, if he stays upright more, I mean, he's been getting sacked a few more times the last few games. I just looked. He last few games he got sacked like 8 times the last 2 games. So total. So if he stays upright a little bit more in this game, which I think he should. I think that if they're playing the way that you're saying, then maybe they're not gonna put as much pressure on the quarterback and they're gonna stay back and try to hold down the receivers. I think if Bell can get out there and get a touchdown over here for Michigan, like you said, they're missing one of the guys, one of their biggest offensive weapons, their running back. So
Donovan Edwards.
and Blake Corum is the Heisman hopeful, who's the guy that he would have been the Heisman hopeful if it wasn't all like quarterbacks this year. But I think he deserved to be up there. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think that he's a big missing piece. But I think Donovan Edwards is going to be definitely He's the one that's injured right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Edwards can stay in that rotation and take over.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that's the thing. Both teams are a little banged up. Michigan's actually a little bit more banged up, but they still have a deeper team all around. Especially like they have a deep position at the running back, with decent receivers. And obviously that defense is just top notch. So it's just gonna be hard for them TCU receivers to get free.
That's for sure. No, that's for sure. I don't think that they're gonna what TCU is gonna be able to keep up with Michigan. Honestly, I just see I see the way that they played against Kansas State in that
Hmm.
in that championship game, and I see it being similar to that, where they run early on them, and Michigan is going to try to do that. They're going to run early, first quarter, second quarter, to run early, and then uh, third quarter they're going to give the ball to McCaffrey's hands and try to McCarthy is going to try to go out there and score a few touchdowns. Is what they need. Two touchdowns, a field goal, and they can get it to 28 to 24, hopefully, because TCU can score. I mean, they're not scrubs, but Michigan is the number 6th ranked rushing offense. So I know they're missing their number one guy, but they still got a few other guys that could run there, and it's a lot of it is the offensive line. So I think in a championship game like this, they're gonna show that you got an offensive line out there that could push the ball, run, make some stops on defense, get an interception or two, maybe a fumble. That's all you need. And I do think there's gonna be, yeah, Michigan moving on.
Yeah, no, 100%. It just seemed like mm, having a better defense while having almost a same level of offense obviously is going to win you a game. And
Yeah.
speaking of defense win championships, that's kind of leading me right into the next game we want to talk about, which is pretty much the Peach Bowl, Ohio State
Yep.
versus
Ohio
Georgia.
State versus Georgia.
That's another situation of high-powered offense versus high-powered defense.
Yep.
Now, while Georgia last year, one, Georgia's reigning champion. So one, they have a great chance to run it back. And they pretty much have a great team to do just that. Last year they had damn near historic level when it comes to defense. It was just absolutely crazy how stingy their defense was and how talented it was in almost every position. This year they do still have a top notch defense. While it's not that defense, at this point they're still top five in scoring at under 14 points a game. So that is going to be faced up against a Ohio State team that pretty much have damn near 2 to 3 pro-ready receivers right now,
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
literally right now.
Exactly.
So we're pretty much talking about um,
Not-
Jackson
yeah.
Smith Nigba. I'm probably not even saying his name right. Marvin
Close enough.
Harrison Jr.
Yep.
And if you want to throw anyone else in there, you could pick between Julian Fleming or Xavier Johnson. That not necessarily the resume, but at the very least, Marvin Harrison and Jackson are 100% NBA, Jesus, NFL ready.
Yeah.
On top of c.j. Stroud has been pretty much playing crazy all year. So you got a
Hmm.
high scoring offense with ridiculous amount of receivers, and they love running like a spread offense. Like their receivers play at least four. They have at least four receivers in most of their sets, and always running some type of some sort of scheme where they're trying to confuse the defense by crossing through the field. Doing some sort of post where it's mixed in with another slant that's coming through or things like that. Um, so pretty much it's gonna be that front seven against on Georgia, pretty much applying pressure to Ohio State c.j. Stroud all night, and we're just gonna have to see how he can handle that. Um,
Hmm.
Truthfully, Georgia is looking like they have been the best team in the nation for most of this year. Besides USC, just saying. But they actually went undefeated. Obviously, showing themselves to be very, very disruptive when it comes to stopping other teams. And very disruptive on offense as well. Like they're just crazy right now. Um, so pretty much, if Ohio State can't get that that running game going, and that front seven for Georgia really steps up. Unfortunately, Ohio State isn't going to get anything going. Their receivers aren't effective unless the running back is effective. That's how they actually work
Mm.
their game. As crazy as the names they have on the receiving core, they're actually still a running team. That's how they set things up. They force you to load that box because they're running good, and that's what I said. They set up the multiple receiver sets, still running things from shotgun, so you can't really see
Point.
what the read is,
That's a
and
good
now you're
point.
confused. You know, your corners are too far up, and that's just pretty much how they have to take advantage of the secondary.
Mhm.
Granted, they got good luck that Georgia secondary is the weakest part of their unit. But
Mhm.
like I said, if they don't get that run game going, it's going to be hard for them to get that most effective unit and the most effective offense in the country actually going. So pretty much, I think it's just going to be uh, a good offense versus defense game. Ohio State very talented on offense. Georgia very talented on defense. The only difference is Georgia's offense has improved over the last year. So last year, when they actually won a championship, relying on just their defense, this year they took a tiny step back on defense, but a decent step up on offense. So they don't need the defense to pretty much take them and win them games anymore. So we'll definitely be able to see if they can repeat. But I 100% got them dominating in a 35-21 win over Ohio State. I
Wow.
think Georgia comes out to play, and I think that defense is smothering.
Wow. That's that is interesting. I was actually very captivated by everything you were saying, and it seemed at one point that you were leaning Ohio State. You were giving them like a lot of praise, but then you definitely started talking about Georgia's stout
That front
defense,
seven.
and the one thing that I mean you said is that they haven't gotten much worse from last year at the defense, and that's actually very true. I mean, even though they had like 5 first rounders drafted last year from the defense, like they literally sorry, not 5 first rounders, 5 guys drafted from their defense in the draft last year. They literally had a lot of 5-star athletes like come into this
Come in.
program again this year, and they had one of the best recruiting class on defense. They came out, they played very impressive, and Kirby Smart is a defensive coach. He's always been known for that. Him bringing these guys into a game like this, they're very used to it. And the last few years, obviously, like you said, they're the previous champion, but they also made it in 2017. And this game is going to be with two teams that have been in for the most amount of times total, because Georgia's been in the college football playoff twice, 17 and 21, and Ohio State, it's actually their fifth time. They started off the first year the college football playoff started in 2014, then 2016, 2019, 2020, and then 22 this year. It's their fifth time. So 7 times between these two teams they've been into the college football playoff, the most ever, and they're playing to get into the national championship. It's gonna be a crazy game. I think you definitely said a lot about what's going to happen to the Ohio State rushing game. They like to be a running team, but I don't think that that's where they're going to have a lot of success this game at all,
Mm-mm.
because Georgia's the number 6 rushing defense. They're decent on passing. I mean, passing defense as well, but they're not the greatest.
That's their
They're
weakest
still like
spot.
they're definitely like top 15, but they're not the greatest. But I do think they're good enough that they can stop people in spots, and especially in big spots. But in this game, what you said first, you named the pretty much all the players that were on Ohio State. Those big name guys, those
Hmm.
big name guys are gonna play in some big name moments, and none other than c.j.Stroud. I definitely think that he's gonna try to show out this game. I don't see him rushing the ball much in this game at all, and he doesn't really like to against these big defenses. Like Michigan, he didn't rush at all against Michigan, and he's not gonna over here. I do see Marvin Harrison Jr. balling out in this game. I really expect him and c.j.Stroud to connect twice, get 2 touchdowns against a Georgia defense that's weak on the left secondary. They had injury problems in their secondary on the left side, and that's usually a guy that, I mean, Marvin Harrison usually lines up on the left. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to be a weakness that Georgia has. I do expect Marvin Harrison Jr. to get 2 touchdowns in this game, though. And this one is going to be more of a shootout for me. I do think that, the guys that are the name brand guys are actually going to take over this game at the end, even though Georgia has such an amazing defense and they are going to stop the run. I expect Ohio State to get less than 100 yards this game, but their
Hmm.
passing is going to go up to like 350 yards. Like I do see C.J.
Oh
Stroud
wow.
getting around 350. Yeah. And Marvin Harrison Jr., no joke, I could see him getting 150 easily, getting 150 against this
Jesus.
defense with the injuries that they have on their secondary right now. Their front four is amazing, and if they get a bunch of sacks, then they're easily going to win. If they get a bunch of sacks on C.J. Stroud early and make him, really second take himself, but I really expect him to play well. I expect Marvin Harrison to play well, the big guys to play well in the second quarter and the fourth quarter, and starting to get momentum when they need it. Because this game is going to be about momentum because they're going to know
Hmm.
pretty much who won the previous game once this game happened, and I do think that Ohio State, if Michigan wins the first game, Ohio State knows that they're going to be playing Michigan for the national championship if they
They
win.
want that.
They want that. So I honestly got Ohio State winning against Georgia, and I think they're going to beat them 34-28. I think it's going to be a higher scoring game, but it's still going to be a one-score game. Come down to it, I think in the last 6 minutes or so, Ohio's going to score the last touchdown, and that's going to be it.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I for both games I got defense coming up on top. I do think that Ohio State is a very explosive and fantastic offense, like you like the names on there. But I just
Marvin
CJ, I
Harrison
don't.
probably the best receiver in
Yeah,
football,
he no, he is
in college football,
100%.
yeah.
In college football, he's the best receiver, hundred
And
percent.
obviously his father, one of the greatest in football, Hall of Famer, played for the Colts, played with Peyton Manning, so obviously
hundred
grew up in a
percent.
football family.
And that offense is just so stacked. But I just don't think that Stroud is comfortable all night.
Mm.
I think he's running for his life. I think that front five for him doesn't protect him like they should. I think they're gonna have to start changing things up real soon because the game plan's not working. And if you have to abandon the run, there's no way the pass is gonna succeed. But we'll
So
see.
I mean that is interesting. I mean the pass. I mean the pass is only going to succeed if they do get a little bit of running. You're right. I do think that they're going to have to try to get a few runs on Georgia. I don't think they're going to be successful. I mean I expect them to
They
average
have
like
to
three,
establish that.
but I think they're going to get average like 3 yards a game. But that's it. But even though they're not going to get many yards, I think on second down and third down they're going to be able to get enough passing yards that they're going to be able to move the sticks and still get those running yards when they need to. They'll get like 2-4 yards here and there, but it's not going to be huge runs like you see them. I mean, against this year, Ohio State, they they had a few games where they were running all over teams, and they were really going crazy. And obviously, C.J. Stroud is not known as a runner, and he did pass the ball a lot this year. But when they played against Toledo, they had like 6 rushing touchdowns, and it was insane, like insane amount of rushing yards. Uh, they had another game like that when they played against Iowa, where they had like over 250 yards rushing. So in spots they can run the ball, but I don't think this is going to be the spot for it. But one thing that Ryan Day did have to say about this game, he is interested in playing Michigan because he's like, this is a 2 game season ahead of us. So pretty much he's already talking about playing Michigan Nets. He knows that he wants to win that national championship against Michigan. You know, playing them again. Obviously, Michigan just beat them in the conference championship, so this will
Hmm.
be a rematch again. Uh, and the one thing that's actually is really interesting is that Ohio State had an extra week of rest before this game against Georgia because they didn't have conference championship. So they actually have that little extra rest.
Hopefully, they've been studying film because they're gonna need it.
They definitely will. They definitely will. I mean, I hope we see like a historic national championship game. So I got Ohio State, Michigan. You got Michigan, Georgia, which would be a crazy defensive
Still
battle.
be exactly, still be historic.
It'll be pretty historic. But I mean, we're gonna leave the winners for the next episode. I'm sorry, y'all. We can't give it to you guys right now. We got to see who wins this game first. We can't give you guys who we think is
We
going to win a national
can't. We
championship yet.
can't. We can't. But based
Uh,
on our picks, I already know who I got. I know you know who you got.
you know what though?
I think I
I
know who
think
you got.
I mean, it makes it so much more interesting if I see Ohio State do what they do against Georgia. It's going to make it more interesting for me. And same with Michigan if they do what they do against TCU. I think that I don't know which way I'm going to be going in that national championship game yet. If it's Ohio
I
State, Michigan.
I already got my winner for the whole thing. I'm just waiting.
Well, you know
But
what?
y'all gonna have to wait too.
We're gonna leave that for the next one. But don't worry, it's coming up ahead because these ones are the New Year's Day bowls or New Year's Eve bowls. Excuse me, New Year's
Yep,
Eve
yep.
bowls. They're playing on, you know, right before New Year's. So we're gonna see what happens there,
So
and
yeah, less than a week
some
you'll be hearing from us
some
again.
great matchups.
100%.
Please let us know though who you guys think are gonna win these
Who you
matchups.
got?
Who you got for these ones? We got Ohio State versus Georgia, and of course we had TCU versus Michigan. So please make sure you guys go ahead and write who you got down below. If you guys are watching, please click that like video and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click that subscribe button over to the right as well. Every single one of you guys that subscribes with us, we love you guys. So thank you guys for following us along on this journey. We love talking sports, and we love
Hmm.
bringing you guys along with us. If you guys also have some topics that you'd like us to do, or maybe some questions that you'd like to have us do, go over to our Patreon page. Over there is definitely the place where you guys can give us some general support and even just put in your topic, a different question, a sports question that you'd like us to do on the show, and we'll definitely do it. If it's in the season for sure, we can't be doing women's figure skating if it's not like the Olympics, because
Right,
we're not
right.
just like not too versed in that unless it's like the big time moments
Or
and the
no,
big
no
time games.
badminton, no cricket. None of those sports that aren't the mainstream sports. Not yet. We gotta wait till we get our team that big.
But
We're
if it's
gonna have an
like a world
expert for
championship or
everything.
something, we'll throw in like a quick little take here or there. If that's something you guys want to hear from us, we'll definitely do some research for it. I love researching sports, so I don't care what it is. I'm definitely down to do it. But definitely appreciate every single one of you guys that goes there on the Patreon page and checks us out there. And make sure you guys check out our merch there as well. Also, if you guys just want to follow us along on our regular social medias, I'm at the Iconic Dude and Melo.
Melo the Notorious.
And if you guys have any questions for us on social media, let them know how we can find us.
Already, you already know how we do. We got all the platforms. We love the interaction, comments, likes. Like he said, let us know what you want to hear. Let us know if you don't want to hear something. Just any interaction. We love our fans. We love you guys taking the time out today to talk and listen to sports with us. Uh, Definitely got a lot of good things coming around the corner. It's a new year, so new year, new things. Some things will stay the same, but a lot of things are going to change over here, and we can only imagine it's going to be better for you guys, or hope. We imagine it'll be better for us, but we can hope it'll be better for you. But that's what we're here for. You guys let us know what works, what doesn't, and we keep on moving.
That's right. That's right. Again, appreciate you guys for checking out this episode, and we'll see you guys on the next one of Who You Got with
Mellow.
and Rado. Peace, y'all.
Peace.